Woodpecker's Pocket Compass and Pocket Compass XL use a two-piece adjustable beam with precision milled pencil guides to simplify arc and circle layout. Slide the center beam tooling positions in your workshop. Instead of trying to eyeball the alignment of the tool to a tiny line on a scale, step gauges simplify the process of tool setup by providing a precise physical your setups and improve your accuracy with Woodpecker's step gauges. Order yours today. Woodpecker's Joiner's Saddle Square packs a boatload of features into a convenient, compact layout tool you'll reach for whenever you're in your joinery. You need the face and edge of your stock marked at the same dimension. That's part of the fundamental design of the Joiner's Saddle Square. Not only can you mark the face and edge square, but you can continue a 45-degree miter around the corner just as well. To assist you in joinery layout, we included scribing guides on 1/32 inch centers, or if you prefer metric, the scribing guides are on 1mm centers. Both ends and both edges are engraved with 1/32 inch scales, or 1mm scales on the metric model. Graduations on opposing sides run in opposite directions, right to left or left to right. There's always one that will fit into tight openings and reference from the correct end. You can also lay out most standard angles, always referenced off the intersection point of the two sides. The Joiner's Saddle Square includes a wall-mountable racket to keep it right in plain sight and always ready to go. Compact, lightweight, versatile, and accurate. The Joiner's Saddle Square will soon be your favorite layout tool. Order yours today. Router edge guides are great when you're cutting a rabbet or groove parallel with the edge of your stock. But working on the edge of your material with just one narrow fence leaves a lot to be desired. Woodpecker's mortise base captures your stock securely between 2-inch deep fences for a stable way to cut mortises in the edge of a board with your plunge router. almost any size mortise using almost any plunge router. Order your mortise base today. Since its first appearance as a one-time tool in 2015, the original 3.5-inch delve square has been one of our most popular tools. Now it has a big brother, the 6-inch delve. All the same great features in a bigger size. The first thing I want to show you about the delve square is the offset base. This side is 1/4 of an inch from the edge to the blade, and this side is 3/8. So if I'm working with standard 3/4 inch stock and I want to lay out a mortise, if I take the 1/4 inch side, drop it on here, make a mark, bring it around to the other side and make a mark, I just laid out a perfectly centered mortise or tenon. And if I want to find the center of the board, we're going to take the 3/8 side, drop it on, make a mark, bring it to the other side, make a mark, and the center between those two lines is the exact center of my board, even if it's slightly undersized or slightly oversized. But the offset base is just one nifty feature. Next, let's look at parallel scribing. Drop the tip of your pencil in one of the holes along the blade. Hold the base against the edge of your stock and slide along. Your mark is precisely parallel to the edge, at exactly the distance you want. The holes are machined every 1/8 of an inch along the blades. And the hypotenuse arm has angle graduations in 5-degree increments on the original and 1-degree increments on the 6-inch. Both include 22.5 and 67.5 degree angles as well. Just line the angle up with the edge of your stock and mark along the other edge. For repetitive angle marking, clamp a woodpecker's stair gauge to the delve and repeat your angle over and over with pinpoint accuracy. Every feature of the delve becomes a measuring device. The base is 1/4 of an inch thick and 3/4 of an inch wide, and the blade is 1/8 of an inch thick. Use all 3 sections as setup blocks. There's even a hole machined 3/8 of an inch from the edge, sized just right to guide a self-centering drill bit. You can drill a hole centered just this easy. The delve square is machined from one solid piece of aircraft-grade aluminum tool plate, anodized for surface protection, and laser engraved with the scales to a tolerance of 4/1000 of an inch. Both sizes come complete with a wall-mountable racket to keep your delve square right in plain sight and ready to go to work. Woodpecker's 3.5 and 6-inch delve squares. A drawer full of layout tools in the palm of your hand, and now in 2 sizes. Order yours today.
Introducing the PolyGauge SS, a precision machined polygon with 5 angles commonly used by woodworkers. And its magnetic dual-purpose knob and base connects the tool to steel machine tops, allowing for hands-free adjustments. Now you can set table saw blade angles perfectly the first time. Place the PolyGauge SS horizontally to set miter fences easily. Or use with a miter saw to accurately set fence to blade angles. Quickly set up miter cuts with confidence and tackle complex projects you previously avoided with the PolyGauge SS.
We set out to make a more modern and functional PolyGauge that's made right here in our shop. Originally I designed the PolyGauge to be made out of aluminum. But once I machined it, had the part in my hand, I decided it didn't have the modern feel that we were looking for. So from there, we decided to go towards the stainless steel because it gave a modern look and a more accurate edge. The high quality stainless steel gets cut out with our laser cutter. From there, it gets leveled and sandblasted, which gives it a nice matte finish. And we precision mill our edges to keep our angles within 0.08 of a degree, which is 10 times more accurate than our other competitors. After inspection, the stainless steel gets passivated and moves on to be laser annealed, giving the tool its high contrast, easily readable markings. And we designed the perfect handle by 3D printing multiple prototypes to make sure it securely fit the tool. Instead of the typical screw-off handle, we made ours with 2 rare earth magnets, which allows for quick and easy attachment. I think we built a really cool, modern, and highly functional poly gauge, and I'm proud that it's made right here in our shop.
Poly Gauge SS, precision made in the USA.
In 1903, the U.S. Patent Office granted patent number 742528 to Justice Trout of the Stanley Rule and Level Company. The Stanley No. 30 angle divider became a favorite of finish carpenters everywhere because it gave them the perfect setting for their miter box, even when the corner of a room wasn't square. Woodpeckers engineer Benjamin Engel set out to honor Trout's original tool, but update the design to work with power miter saws and take advantage of modern materials. Adjusts between an inside angle of 30 degrees and an outside angle of 85 degrees. The angle between the central beam and either blade is exactly 1/2 the angle between the two blades. That gives you the setting for a perfect fitting miter, no matter what the angle of the corner. Here's an example. You can see this room corner mock-up isn't square. It's out by at least a degree or two. But exactly what that angle is doesn't matter. We'll adjust angle to the walls. Transfer the bisected angle to a piece of stock. Set the miter saw to the line and cut the joint. And the miter fits perfectly. If your saw doesn't have a laser, don't worry. Just take this link apart, move the blade out of the way, and set your angle between the fence and the saw blade. Like many of our other revivals of early 20th century classics, Angle elevates the design with modern manufacturing techniques and space-age materials. Get perfect mitered corners even when you don't have a perfect corner with Angle. Order yours today. Miter joints lack the long grain to long grain contact needed for strength, but add splines across the joint and you have a joint that's strong and attractive too. Big works with either your table saw or router table to cut spline grooves across miter joints. Once the groove is cut, you can insert a spline that almost disappears or use contrasting woods to make it stand out. And there's no law that says splines have to be straight. Tilt your saw blade to create angled splines that add interest to your boxes. Woodpecker's spline jig works just as well with your router table. Use straight bits to make wider spline grooves. Or use a dovetail bit to cut a wedge-shaped groove and lock the corner with a keystone spline. The 4 stops included with the spline jig help you position your material uniformly on each corner. The spline jig works with projects as narrow as a picture frame and up to 3 feet wide. Get the strength of biscuits or dowels and add an attractive design element at the same time with Woodpecker's spline jig. Order yours today. We introduced our auxiliary rip fence in July of 2024. Customers with full-size table saws love it. It's straighter, longer, and taller than any stock rip fence, and you can configure it exactly how you need it to get the best cut possible. But one question kept coming up again and again. Do you have a shorter one for my smaller saw? Now we do. Introducing the Compact Auxiliary Rip Fence. Perfect for smaller table saws, band saws, or anything else with a rip fence. Auxiliary Rip Fence Auxiliary Rip Fence, sized for your smaller machines. Order your Compact Auxiliary Rip Fence today. It's a big step for woodworkers when they stop making everything square and start incorporating angles into their projects. One huge part of that challenge is setting the angles correctly on your machinery. But that part of the challenge gets easier when you add Woodpecker's drill press protractor to your toolbox. For all of your advanced projects. Order your drill press protractor today.
Set dovetail and miter angles faster and more accurately with Woodpecker's new Bevel Block. The bevel block provides precisely machined physical references to set dovetail and miter angles. You have dovetail ratios of 1:6, 1:7, and 1:8, and angles for 4, 5, 6, 8, and 12-sided miter joints. To set any angle, rest the right side of the bevel block on the base of your bevel square and adjust the blade to the angle. By working to a physical reference, you'll get the correct angle and get it faster. The sides and end of the bevel block are carefully machined square, which gives you some very important angle options. By changing the surface you're referencing from, you can set your bevel square to the 90-degree complement or the 180-degree supplement of all the angles on the bevel block. That gives you 24 different angles you can set quickly and accurately. Woodpecker's bevel squares are perfect companions to the bevel block. Based on an 1870 patent, Woodpecker's bevel squares use a very secure locking mechanism that clamps from the end instead of right at the joint. They're available in two sizes, 7-inch and 12-inch. Take the squinting and guessing out of your angled project.
Back when project plans were drawn on a drafting table instead of a computer, designers used one of the ratio scales on this architect's rule to dimension their plans. Now Woodpeckers has borrowed this triangular profile to give you the 6 most needed woodworking rules in one handy tool. Introducing the hex scale. Hex scale gives you the normal left to right scale in inches. If you want the same left to right view in millimeters, just roll the hex scale one time. Sometimes your project calls for a reading that starts on the right. Just turn the hex scale around and there's the right to left scale in inches. Your table saw rib fence is an obvious example of when you want the right to left scale. And again, to view in millimeters, just roll it one time. The centering scale lets you accurately locate the middle of any board without doing any math at all. Just align the hex scale with the same measurement on both edges. And the 0 is at the exact center. Or for something like a drawer pull, you can now measure the same distance either side of center. And like the others, you have the centering scale in both inches and millimeters. The triangular profile does more than just give you 6 scales in one. It also places the scale right down on your material, eliminating parallax viewing error. Hex scale's profile also aligns the scale perfectly parallel with your material, improving the accuracy of your measurement compared to trying to align a flat rule. Each hex scale includes a stop, perfectly molded to the profile of the rule. Lock it on the rule and make quick work of repetitive marking. Hex scale is available in 6, 12, 24, and 36-inch lengths. If you buy the complete set, you'll also get a wall-mountable racket to keep your hex scales right in plain sight and always ready for work. The 6 most useful measuring scales for woodworkers in one convenient tool. Order your hex scales today.
Introducing the adjustable setup block. A versatile, single setup block that doesn't limit you to just one size. Adjustable setup block features a top and bottom 1/64 inch scale. You can set the tool to your critical dimension in 3 easy steps. Just depress the quick adjust button and slide the reference surface up or down close to your mark. Use the micro adjust to dial in your exact dimension. Then tighten the locking knob. It's that easy. The top scale measures the distance from the bottom of the base to the top face of the reference surface, making it ideal for setting bit depths at the drill press or your table saw fence position. The bottom scale measures the distance from the bottom of the base to the bottom face of the reference surface. It's perfect for adjusting the height of a router bit in your router table or setting the depth of cut on your table saw. The triangular base and reference surface are meticulously machined from a solid billet of aluminum and then anodized with our famous Woodpecker's red finish. The stainless steel inlays are precision cut on our state-of-the-art laser cutter and then are carefully polished with an old-school jeweled finish using modern technology. The adjustable setup block is also available in metric, featuring a 0.5 millimeter top and bottom scale, giving you a range from 0.5 millimeters up to 28 millimeters. For quick and easy storage, we included a wall-mountable racket to keep your tool well protected, but always in plain sight. Keep an entire set of reference blocks right in your pocket. Order Woodpecker's adjustable setup block today.
If you're done with the jigsaw and belt sander routine for cutting rounded corners, Woodpecker's latest one-time tool is just what you're looking for. Cut perfect radius corners in just one step with Woodpecker's Radius Quick Jig. Just select the radius you want, index the jig to the end and the side of your workpiece, nibble away at the center, then bring the jig against the bearing and create a perfect radius. Used in conjunction with Woodpecker's freehand guard, the job is nearly dust-free and the bit is always covered. You'll never deal with irregular or mismatched corners because each one is cut with exactly the same template. The 6 Radius Quick Jig templates each have 2 sizes for a total of 12 available radii: 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, half, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, 1 inch, 1 1/8, 1 1/4, 1 3/8, and 1 1/2. Soft curves lead the bearing into and out of the cut, eliminating hard entry points that require extra sanding. If you're designing your project on the fly, you can easily visualize the look of the finished cut just by dropping the jig on the corner and taking a look. When you're through with the Radius Quick Jig, just drop it on the included racket with the rest of the set and it'll be ready to go for your next project. Whether your project is big, small, or in between, the Radius Quick Jig will give you beautifully radius corners using the safety and convenience of your router table. Order yours today. By drawing on the geometric properties of a parallelogram, Woodpecker's MT center gauge allows you to quickly mark the exact center of your board and lay out perfectly centered mortise and tenon joints. With 4 imperial and 5 metric sizes, you can easily and accurately mark thirds on stock from a 1/2 inch to a full 1.5 inch thick and more. There's no quicker way to find the exact center of your board than simply squeezing the MT center gauge together and making your mark. Each of the interchangeable marking bars features a hole milled precisely in the center of the bar. Just drop the tip of your pencil or scribing tool in the hole and mark dead center of your board every time. Laying out mortise and tenon joinery is just as simple. With the marking bar installed, simply close the jaws onto your board and mark both sides of the bar. Your joint will be perfectly centered on the board's thickness, even if the board's not a perfect dimension. The marking bars are milled from high-quality stainless steel, ideal for a marking knife for hand-cut joinery. Changing your mortise or tenon's thickness couldn't be easier. Simply remove the 2 thumb screws holding the marking bar in place and attach the size bar you need. The marking bars are precision machined from high-quality stainless steel. You can get the MT center gauge with the 4 imperial marking bars, or 5 metric marking bars, or the complete set of all 9 sizes. The MT center gauge works with stock as thin as 1/4 inch, all the way up to a full 2 inches thick. MT center gauge was so popular as a one-time tool, we've now added it to our permanent product lineup. Lay out perfectly centered joinery with Woodpecker's MT center gauge. Order yours today. Work safer and more accurately at your router table with Woodpecker's Iron Grip Small Parts Holder. Iron Grip uses a deep-cut Acme thread and anodized aluminum jaws to hold small workpieces securely. Tough, non-slip neoprene jaw liners hold your workpieces tightly, but won't mar the stock the way abrasive grip material can. Stop pins inside the jaw make it simple to do repetitive work. There are 5 positions for the stop pins, from 1/2 inch from the edge to 3 3/4 inches from the edge. Using Iron Grip with a bearing-guided router bit couldn't be easier. Align your material against one jaw and its stop pin. Depress the quick release button on the vice jaw, slide it closed on your work, then clamp it down tight with the knurled knob on the outside. And make your cut. When working all sides of a piece, do the end grain first. Then the edge grain. You can quickly route pieces that would be dangerous to route by hand, and you'll get outstanding results. This piece is just 3/4 by 3/4, and we're putting a profile on all 4 edges and doing it safely. But not every cut can be made with a bearing-guided bit. When you need a fence, Iron Grip still has you covered. The Fence Guide acts like a long edge you would normally guide on a fence. Bring your workpiece to the fence, clamp it in, and make your cut. It's perfect for half laps, tenons, and rabbets on small pieces. This piece is 1 inch wide, 5 inches long, and 1/2 inch thick, and we just put a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch rabbet all the way around on all 4 sides. Nothing on the market could handle that as safely or as accurately. If you need to cut tenons or half laps beyond the 1.5 inch reach of the standard fence guide, there's an optional extended fence guide that reaches from 1.5 inches to a full 3 inches. The Iron Grip Small Parts Holder. Safer, more accurate small parts machining on your router table.
With Woodpecker's Add an Inch offset block, you can batch out identical crosscuts quickly and safely. Its 1 by 2 by 3 inch proportion gives it plenty of other uses around your shop. Each Add an Inch block is Woodpecker's Add an Inch block. Order yours today.
Most doweling jigs have fixed spacing between the pins, but Woodpecker's Cameline gives you infinitely variable pin spacing from 3/4 inch to 1 3/4 inches. And that's just the beginning of the nifty features this jig offers. The variable spacing of the 3-pin array works from the center out. The center pin is always in the center of the jig, and the two outside pins move in and out. This makes using Camline very simple when you're making just a couple joints. Just align your workpieces the way you want. Strike a line square across the joint and centered on the narrow piece. Now align the center line engraved in Camline with the witness marks on your stock, clamp, and drill. With the outside faces against the fence and the center lines matched, the joint comes together perfectly. When you have stacks of joints to drill, there's a faster way than aligning centers. The stop system lets you position Camline on your material the same way time after time, so you can batch out parts in a hurry. With faces and edges indexed to the fence and the stop, your joints come out flush all around. You can get stop extensions for Camline to carry your stop up to 36 inches away from the pins. These are great when you want to use dowels to align boards for a panel glue-up. Miter twist and bow can be managed with just a few pins in each joint. Camline is available with your choice of 4 dowel pin sizes: 1/4 inch, 5/16, 3/8, and 1/2 inch. You can add sets of guide bushings, or you can get the complete package with all 4 guide bushing sizes, all the index pins, stop blocks, drill stop collars, 3 extension rods, and a wall mountable racket to keep it all organized. Camline gives you the flexibility to use dowel joinery in a wide variety of material thicknesses and widths, with accuracy you may have thought you could only get with an expensive mortising machine. The Camline Dowel Guide, variable spacing, and positive indexing for rock-solid joinery. Order yours today.